Hello and welcome to our channel. Here, we delve into a world of fascinating stories, immersive adventures, and engaging tutorials on art, science, and life skills. Our aim in creating this channel is to provide content that everyone can benefit from in any field and shape their best selves. So, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and share your feedback on our content. Also, hit the notification bell for our latest videos to stay updated on our new releases. On the second night, when the genie wanted to separate his head from the merchant's body, the merchant, crying and pleading, said, "For God's sake, wait a moment so that I may take a breath and speak a word with you. At least allow me to see my wife and children before I die, bid them farewell, and divide my wealth among them so that they know their share and no dispute arises among them. When I am done with these tasks, I will return to this very place, and whatever you decide regarding me, I will comply." The genie asked, "How much time do you need to come back here again?" The merchant replied, "A full year, for I have unfinished business that needs to be settled. Then I will be prepared to die, and I shall not regret dying in any way. I promise to be present under this tree and in this place 12 months from today, and I will surrender myself to you." The genie said, "No one is present except God. Are you willing to swear by the one God and make God your witness to your commitment?" The merchant replied, "I am willing," and repeated his oath, saying, "You can trust my oath." Thus, the genie accepted the merchant's oath and disappeared beside the merchant's eyes. The merchant breathed a sigh of relief and was very happy, but on the other hand, when he thought that another year he would have to end his life, he became very sad and depressed. He thought to himself what a terrible fate awaited him and also thought about his commitment and loyalty, which equaled losing his life. He was someone who was not disloyal to his promise and covenant. In any case, with these thoughts in mind, he was overwhelmed and rode his horse until he finally arrived home. His wife and children welcomed him with great joy, celebrating his return. However, the merchant was sad and lost in thought, and suddenly began to cry. His family immediately realized that something had happened to the merchant on this journey. The merchant's wife said, "Oh, my kind husband, we were eagerly waiting for you to return from your journey and make us happy. Now we see that your face seems troubled and thoughtful. What event has occurred that has made you so distressed and disheartened?" The merchant recounted the incident from beginning to end, including his conversation with the genie, his oath, and commitment to his family, and then stated that he had 1 year to settle his affairs. At the end of that year, he must return to the genie to face the consequences for his son's revenge. When the merchant's family understood the situation, their cries and lamentations echoed loudly. The merchant's wife wrung her hands and pulled at her hair, wailing from the depths of her heart. Everyone was worried and sorrowful, and the house seemed to overflow with sadness. The next day, the merchant got to work. He first settled his debts with his creditors, then distributed abundant money among his friends, gave charity and ample money to the poor and needy, and divided his vast wealth among his children and wife. He entrusted guardianship of his underage children, who had not reached legal age, to his wife, and fulfilled all the commitments he had made regarding dowry and other obligations from his marriage. He even gave additional amounts to his wife and asked her to forgive his wrongdoings. Finally, the appointed year passed, and the time came to bid farewell to his family. His family wanted to accompany him to the rendezvous point, but the merchant, who loved his family dearly, expressed to them, "What benefit will it be for me if you come with me? Fate has decreed that my life until now is to be such, and during this specified time, I must part from you, my beloveds, and join my permanent destiny. You should also think like me and submit to divine fate and destiny." He said this first, kissed them, and left. No more cries and lamentations were heard from them. He embarked on the long journey and traveled for several days until he finally reached the rendezvous place. There, he dismounted from his horse and sat beside a spring, with a heart heavy with grief, awaiting the genie amidst 1,000 other thoughts. While the merchant was lost in his thoughts, suddenly the presence of an old man who was leading a female dog with a leash caught his attention. The old man approached, and they greeted each other. Then the old man turned to the merchant and asked, "Why have you set foot in this dreadful desert where wicked spirits roam? What has caused you to stay here for some time?" Staying in the desert for a long time brings dangers that ultimately lead to regret. There is no security for humans in this desert. When a person looks at these green and lush trees, he thinks that man lives here, whereas staying here is by no means beneficial. The merchant narrated his current situation and appointment with the genie to the old man. Then the old man, in amazement, was on the verge of having a stroke and exclaimed loudly, "Your action is unprecedented among humans. You, who have been rescued from the clutches of the genie, have come back here just because you promised him. Now you are rushing to meet death on your own. Such an act has no parallel in the world. I have never seen a man so faithful to his promise. I am willing to witness your conversation with the genie." Having said this, he sat down beside the merchant and engaged in warm conversation with him. At this point, Scheherazade stated, "As there is little left of the dawn, I will postpone the continuation of the story to another time. But the best part of the story is in its final section." Shahryar, who was eager to hear the rest of the story, gave Shahrazad the opportunity, and that day, her killing was delayed once again. This story continues. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe and hit the bell next to it to be notified of our upcoming videos. Stay in touch with me. Thank you for your companionship.